Hello everyone. Hi Sumudhu. Welcome to the Sri Lankan Geek Show. Sumudhu, so how have you been? I know most of us having flu these days.
Yeah.
How about you?
So, talking about the flu, I also got the flu. So, I got it on last Tuesday. So, my whole last week was a nightmare. So, even though I got medicine and the fever went away in like 3 days, I didn't feel myself until for around 1 week. So, there were minor headaches and minor problems. So the last week was taken over by the flu. Because of that, we couldn't even record a podcast episode also. So we missed 1 week again. So yeah, that's the news on that. So I saw a meme also saying that if you haven't got the flu in the last few days, please unfriend me.
Unfriend කියලා නේ.
So I think flu is now a common thing in Sri Lanka.
Now it's the trend.
Yeah.
Trend in Sri Lanka. We don't know whether it's COVID or something else, but now everything is like Birisa.
So yeah, that's what I have been doing. So I have been staying at home last week. How have you been? What are you up to?
So last week I didn't had any flu, but I experienced something interesting, Sumdu. So even in last week I got a chance to help someone from Netherlands, I guess. Netherlands or Switzerland, I don't know. I told you once, right?
That app, right?
I used yes. I started using Be My Eyes application for last 1.5 months, as I remember. Last week I received the second call from someone very old, I think older than 50 or 60. She asked a few questions about some medicines, and it was a short call. But after that call, like I did some research on that application. Do you know the founder of this application? He also a blind person, visually impaired. Like he's not 100% blind, but he founded this application. By thinking on top of that, I was like little bit surprised. Founding a mobile app. He was not an engineer. He doesn't know anything about IT. Like he's not a developer. I think his job is I think he's a carpenter or something related to that. But he founded this application, and I think if I'm correct, like this is a small company. Like some people are donating to this organization. Like the app is giving different updates, different features every month. So someone from like carpentry has found a mobile application.
Is that a community driven application, or is it like a business closed code?
I'm not sure about the main income method of the application. I don't think the application main purpose is earning. I know, but the people have donating to this application for different features. So I think a set of people is contributing to this application, and the application is growing day by day. So we'll see now they are having a lot of features. I think compared to last few months, like they have been introduced several features. Interesting part is that like not the application, the concept is very very kind and very important to the world, but for me the main interesting part was like a person who's doing carpentry has invented as a co-founder of a mobile application. So like we think like now when we are doing the IT degrees and masters, and when we are doing jobs in IT related IT related jobs. So even having most of the technologies, the experience and everything, we haven't achieved this much of we haven't done anything to do something important to the world. Or even now, this application is not for the main purpose is not to earn dollars or anything else, but like if they want, they can. I think if they want to sell this application to blind people, like
I think they can like start a subscription service or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, the most interesting part is like that, to initiate something good, you doesn't need to know everything. Even though you know everything, you can't start it. I know it's very confusing, but that's a bitter truth.
I think as you mentioned, I think the founder also is visually like somewhat impaired, right? I think because of the difficulty that he has faced in day-to-day life, I think that brought up with this brilliant idea. I think he's colorblind.
That might be the motivation.
That is like mainly focused to people who are like colorblind and stuff, right? I think when it was launched, they marketed it like a person is trying to choose a dress between, so they get the help to choose the color of the dress, something like that. I can remember.
So according to you, Sumudhu, so if you are willing to start a company, what kind of company do you want to start?
That's a tough
Do you
question.
have any?
I don't have anything in the mind right now.
Yeah. So most of the time, when someone have a good idea or to provide a service or sell anything, likewise, if someone has a creative idea, what we are doing is we are trying to develop different softwares, mobile applications, gather people who having the relevant knowledge. We are trying to what we want. So first of all, it's we are trying to build a product. Or that product can give some services to the clients so sell something. End of the day, we are developing something. It's a product. So most of the companies started as a product based company, but there are some people like us, having all the knowledge and
who don't have any ideas, brilliant ideas.
Yeah. Without having any creative idea. So when that kind of people who met the creative people, they are developing and creating different softwares or mobile applications, different processors to support that idea. And that kind of company that we say is giving services.
That means we are providing the technology IT services, development and those skills to the people who are having the idea to generate the product. So
yes, exactly. So it's kind of a project to that company. So the people, if there are lots of people who having these kind of ideas, so there will be a lot of projects for those kind of companies. So those are the two main companies that we are having today
in the IT industry.
Yes, in the IT industry. Eventually, most of the product-based companies, sometimes once they finish their products, developing products, so they are going to the maintenance mode. And I know some companies, when they are in maintenance mode of what they have developed, so then they are having free time. So then if they doesn't have any other thing, any other idea to continue their company, they are also switching to the service based companies. So with having these kind of experiences, and they have the people. They like people means the workforce and everything. So they are switching to the service-based company. So those likewise, those are the two main companies that we can see today. So Sumudu, so what do you think? So if you get the opportunity to work one of these companies, what do you select? Product-based or service-based? Or means project?
So based on the current situation, I think I will choose the place who is paying me more. That's the main deciding factor nowadays for me. But actually I haven't worked in a service-based company, so I am like a newbie in that area, so I don't have much exposure to area. So all the knowledge that I have regarding service basis from my colleagues and other people who have worked in those companies. So actually I also I'm planning to learn a lot about service based companies from you in this session.
Okay.
Reverting back to the question you asked, so is there any difference that a software engineer will feel in working in either of those companies?
It's actually it's a yes and no answer. The reason is due to these agile concepts. If the company follows strong agile methodologies on their day-to-day life, day-to-day processes, so actually even though it's product or project, the engineer is having the same kind of experience. There can be very minor difference between the project and the product, because the domain can be different in project based. 2 to 3 months the engineer has to work on some finance related work. Next 3 to 4 months they have to work on something not related to finance. Likewise,
so the domain
apart from that,
from the project to project.
Apart from exactly. So apart from that, if the company is following agile, so the experience, that's the main difference between those two companies.
So asking on to the same same question, so is the tech stack will it differ from project to project? So from my experience, so if you are working in a product company, so basically even though we work on different features, the tech stack that we are working will be the same. So we'll be using the same technical knowledge and the stack to build on new features and to maintain the existing features. How about a service-based company? So in that, does the tech stack change based on the desires of the clients from one project to another, or in that company also, since like once we get used to a certain set of tools and technologies, are we trying to meet the requirements of the client through that tech stack that we know?
It also yes and no answers.
I think
the reason is
such answers will be something common in this episode.
Yeah, so the reason is if the company is very matured and expanded, what I meant was like if the company have a suitable workforce to like support every type of projects, so definitely a project to project, definitely company will consider changing the technology as relevant and changing the deployment methods, like A to Z. The company will do the plan according to the requirement and the project. But if the company is not mature, then doesn't have the correct workforce, but they will try to survive on every project, like they will minimize all the effort and they will do all the cost cutting, and they will mostly try to do every project with the same experience they are having by doing the previous project. Yeah, that's why it's a yes and no. It depends on the company.
Depends
if the
on
company is capable,
nature of the
if the
company.
company is capable, they will change project to project. If not,
So actually, I think it's a disadvantage for the client. So like there can be new technologies that can do their work in a more efficient and less costly way. But since if the company is not that much mature, and if they are like trying to squeeze out all the projects from a limited number of developers, so they will most probably stick to what they are capable of and try to fulfill everything through that.
So it's like this. So even in software industries, so if you want a very customized and very specialized service, you have to pay more. If the client doesn't ready to pay that much of money, like they will have to go to the next level. It's like that. If you want to buy a high spec car, like definitely we have to pay more. If we can't pay that much of money, like definitely we have to get a half spec vehicle or laptop. Like everything is going as the same route.
So as you mentioned, from like company to company, the tech stack and how they assign the tech stack for the client's project changes. But from the perspective of an engineer, so like in here we are talking as engineers, will an engineer be able to get an exposure to different types of projects and different types of tech stacks, or like once he get used to a certain set of technologies, for example, if he's an expert in Java, whether the company will give him a front end related to implementation, like something to do with React, or will the company take use of his expertise in Java and keep assigning him to projects in Java? So what's it like for an engineer from the different tech stacks and that?
Yeah, like it's same kind of answer as before.
Yes or
like
no? Yes and no.
No, if the company is very matured and expanded, definitely they will have a set of Java developers, set of Golang developers, set of PHP developers. Likewise, they are having different workforces. So when they are selecting the technologies and the projects, definitely they will take the people on specific groups and assign. In small companies, it's the other way around. So like sometimes back-end developer has to do the front-end front-end development. So the same guy has to do the deployments. That's why this full stack
concept came.
Yeah. So in full stack software engineers, like a normal person cannot expert on every part, right? Like this, even we say like this guy is full stack, like he's doing portion of backend, portion of front end, and do the deployments. Like everything is like he's not an expert, but he's doing somehow. Like if the company is capable of like put specialized people to this kind of project, these are the back-end specialists, these are the front-end specialists. Like even when it's come to front-end, there are people who's doing UI UX, and there are a set of people who's doing all the architectural work. Likewise, like it depends on the company, and if the client could pay that much of money, the company definitely could give something good in return.
So
and there are a set of companies then that this is capable, and there are some companies that cannot.
It depends on the scale of the company, basically. So if the company is small and new, actually we'll have to play multiple roles. So multiple roles will be played by the same person. So the same person will be the architect, he will be the person who is developing the backend and setting up the databases and all, and also he will be also the person who is deploying it. But in a large scale company, for like every specific task, there is a specialized person. So there is a lot of attention to each and every detail. But everything will be built to the customer. So there will be like made 5 to 10 people working on a small button change that will be built to the customer.
Definitely. One button change could 10 million. So I have some experience on like small scale company experience. Like one person coming to your desk and there is a customer who's asking website like this.
I think you told me this story. Yeah, continue to the audience.
This client is needing a software like this, and he shows YouTube. Yes, client asking some website that can play videos like YouTube. This is the client's email, and there is a meeting in the evening as well. So in the meeting you can ask questions and ask what client exactly wants, and then you have to develop. And so after that you are the Superman, and you have to act as a BA first and
gather the requirements.
Gather the requirements from the client,
Then do a feasibility study.
Yeah,
then also
exactly.
be the UX UI engineer.
Yeah, you will be the UI UX, and you will select the technologies, and you will be the experts in
it's
this
like a one-man
kind
show.
of technology. Yeah, exactly, one man show. So that's a different experience. Like once you develop the application, then you have to do the testing. After the testing, even the developer testing, QA testing, UAT, everything is done by you. And after that you have to do the deployment as well, and monitor it, and identify all the errors and fix it.
We have to be the L2 team also. L2 support.
L1, L2, L3, everything is you. The experience is in different level, but I don't think that can be done by everyone and every time. So to get an idea about how the work is done in industry, and how a company works, like those kind of idea, like you can experience it while doing these kind of things. But in long run you can't do that. Like engineer can't do that, because he won't expertise any of this area, and he will be lost in the middle of his career.
So adding on to like asking another question based on this same topic. So for a newbie into the industry, so if like a fresh graduate is coming up to a job, so what type of job will he benefit the most? So if it is to compare or choose between a company like what you said now, and a company which is well established and has a huge like a career flow and has specialized people for each and every specific task. So based on the experience and the knowledge the person will be getting, what company will be the most suitable for him?
For some people who are very capable of doing these kind of work, like multitasking, self-learning, like they are very strong on that area. So I have seen some people like you can't break them. Like they do whatever they are assigned. Like they are very strong. So for those kind of persons, like they doesn't care what is the company and how the company works. Like if they want to learn, they learn, and they are going very straight line. But most of the students, if they are assigned and if they pressurize of these kind of work, like definitely they will sick of doing IT jobs, and they will lost in the middle. My suggestion is if you are not strong enough to take these kind of challenges, like go to a company having a good process to understand everything. In there, like definitely there will be someone to guide you. you won't need to have the experience and the knowledge to guide yourself, and definitely there will be someone to guide you, and it will be benefited for most of the students. But like I said before, there are some students like very capable of guiding themselves. So for those kind of students, like, won't be a problem. But yeah, for most of the students will need a guidance.
So
Yeah, wait, give me 2 minutes, Sumudhu. Like, so I think 2 days back when I'm doing an interview, a fresh graduate from IIT, like, he has he has done the internship in a company, and he's doing some. He has done some web development. It's not a web development, means like website, not a web application. So after the internship, like he was recruited as a associate software engineer in the same company. So he's working with a friend, and these two people are the only developers in the company, and they are developing a website for that in that company.
Like a product of that company, the website of their company website.
Maybe.
I highly doubt whether IIT is accepting internships from such companies. I don't know. Earlier they didn't used to have such companies.
But as he described, like, he has done the internship and the associate software engineering position in the same company, and what he's doing is doing some Laravel PHP development for a website. So there could be some different functionality on top of that website, but it's not very complicated web application. It's more of a website. So even I was wondering why they are doing these kind of spending in this kind of company, even after the internships. So when I asked questions, like he was not able to answer any of the questions. So even his knowledge is very weak. Even in Laravel, they are doing very typical developments, because the main reason that I found, like, there were no any guidance on it. When the company says, okay, we need this kind of form, like, they do copy and pasting different codes from here and there and do the developments. So in that kind of work, like, they doesn't have any process, like, they are isolated.
So I think it all depends on the company. So we should be lucky to get assigned to a company and a team that has a proper guidance. It all depends on it. So even though if the company has a product, or if the company is catering other clients' requests, so if the company doesn't have a correct process, then we cannot grow as an individual, I think, in terms of an engineer. Like I had a question earlier, so I wanted to get to know. So in the beginning of the episode, you mentioned the main difference in a product and a service-based company is on the domain. So in a product company, we are working on the same domain, so we will be either creating new features or maintaining the existing features, but we'll be in the same domain set. So we'll only change. We will not have to face drastic domain changes. Even though we are assigned to a different team, still we'll be working on the same domain. But in a service company, the domain might change for us from project to project. So one month we'll be working on a finance project, in another month we'll be creating an application for a car. So as a software engineer, so I think you have experience on working in service-based companies. So from a software engineer's perspective, is it difficult to work in multiple domains? So what's the experience on that?
It has two sides.
Mhm.
Like I will start my argument like this. So when I'm saying the full stack software engineer,
Yeah.
so he's doing everything and he's not expert in any of the area.
Mhm.
So same thing in here as well. So you have worked on different domains, health, finance, education, whatever that you work on different business domains, but you will not be able to expertise any of the business domain. But you shouldn't do that. Like you shouldn't expertise on any of the business domain. Like it's not part of a software engineer. It's for something else, not for a software engineer. So what you should do is like you should expertise on technical side. Like in that case, so if a service based company, you will get different projects, so the project's tech stack could be changed, and first 6 months you will be a Java engineer, second 6 months you will be a Golang engineer. So but product base, for the whole year you will be a Java engineer. So even in that case there are two sides. A person who's doing 6 months Java, second 6 months Golang is might having a less knowledge in Java who's doing Java for a whole year. You can be expert on Java if you do Java for a whole year and be expert on Java. Like you can improve your expertise in Java, not Golang. So, but even in that case, there are two sides. So, if there could be some companies, even the product based, when they are on maintenance mode, they are just maintaining the current development, and they are doing some minor bug fixes for a whole year. But in 6 months, project based company, like they are developing a software from A to Z within the 6 months. So in that case, a person who's developing in 6 months have more knowledge on the people who are working in the product base for a whole year. Like even in that case, it depends on the work that you have doing. Like I know some companies, like product based companies, they are moving very fast. Like they are introducing different features every day. Like they want to release new versions in every month. Like they want to expand the business on different areas. Like they are in a very fast pace. Like in that scenario, like the product based company is like a service based, like different features on every month, but the technology could be same, the domain is the same, but the work experience will be different. So if you are easily bored with one technology in a short time period, like you shouldn't be working in a product base. So you should be working in a project based company. There are some people like that. So even I have met some people, like when they are doing Java for 6 months, like they are bored with that. They want to move on to something else. Like, but some people, when they want to, like when they learn C#, .NET in academic projects, like they want to move on with that. Like they doesn't want to
Learn new things.
Do something else. They want to continue what they are doing. Like, there are some people like that. Like it depends.
So at the end of the day, so even like the company nature doesn't matter. So it's the type of work that we are getting assigned to and the type of tasks that we'll be getting the opportunity to work on. So like there can be companies who has only a single product, but it has more work and new features than a service company. So when it is compared, it depends. And like
there are some service companies like they only doing some websites.
yeah.
So in that case, like no point.
It all depends. So
Yeah.
and when you were like mentioning about the languages and getting expertise on languages, so the question that came to my mind is like, so as a software engineer, as you mentioned, we shouldn't be restricted to domain. So domain is not something that we should get attached to. But nowadays, like there are many languages, and also should a software engineer be restricted to a specific set of languages? So as an engineer, like language is also another tool. So should we be able to use any tool and create the product? So it's like clay, like, and we are using that to create pots. So programming language is also something like that, right? So but nowadays, like many people like stick to one language, get expertise on that, and also there are job listings for specific language. So they are requesting Java developers, they are requesting PHP developers. So what is your idea on that? Should we like focus on one specific language and get to the bottom of that language, or should we be open to any language and use that as a tool to create things? So what's your idea on that?
Yeah, okay. If we consider last 10 years, from 2012 to 2022, what was the trending in IT industry? Like back in 2010, 2012, like we built like huge monolithic applications. Like there were no separate UI development, there are no separate backend development.
Everything is in the same code base.
So later there were some different UI frameworks came in, and there were a set of languages that we are doing specifically for backends, and there are some computer languages like JavaScript, like we use those two front ends.
But we can use JavaScript for backend as well, not Express.
Yeah, exactly. Even we can write Java in the front end as well. But the trend differed, differentiate throughout the last 10 years. So now Java, PHP, forget PHP, Golang, Python, like we call them, those are backend technologies. Angular, React.js, Vue.js, Backbone, like those are front-end frameworks. In last 10 years, these front-end frameworks, like they develop so fast. Like every year they are releasing new versions, they are releasing new frameworks. So in that case, if you are into front ends, you shouldn't be restricted to one framework or one technology. So even like when we compare to Angular and React, like both are developed using TypeScript or JavaScript. Like if you know TypeScript and JavaScript, like you can work on that. But you need some experience on their frameworks and methodologies. That Angular and React are like totally different frameworks. If you are into front ends, like you shouldn't restrict it to any frameworks or language. But if we compare to backend, so the backend, so Java, C#, like they were long lasted. Like if you're like, that's why, like if your expertise in Java, like there are a lot of job opportunities specific for the Java. Like even though it's a tool, like you said, even though it's a clay, there are some difference so between these tools and clays. So if you are familiar with one type of clay, like you can easily work on it and within a very short time period, rather than using a different clay. So likewise, it's a very tough answer, but theoretically every language is a tool. You should be able to use in that. You have to build that mindset to openly work on any technology, but in a practical scenario you will get used to that.
After some
Like,
time automatically we'll be comfortable with
your
that language.
your head will adjust to a set of way that as an example, so you are used to work on Java and Golang and C++ as well. Okay, so there are very new computer language coming in next month, and it's totally different. It doesn't use any of the way that we used to have, like there are no any method definitions. Like if it's totally different, it will take longer time to adapt to that kind of computer language. So we will be able to be expert on that as well, but it will take more time because your head is adjusted to adjusted already. But even though we can define it as a tool, but
automatically we'll be used to it.
Used to it, exactly.
So they are like if we get used to old long lasting language, then it will be safe. But like if we get the first project and if we get used to some language that is new, and if that trend goes away, we'll be little bit lost, I think. For example,
Yes. Yeah.
So there is that also.
Yeah. So anyway Sumudhu, so in IT industry, you don't have to, like, even though your expertise in Java, you don't, like, in your career, like there were only few years that you have to develop on it. Like as an example, like if you are expertise in Java, you have started your internship, so you learn Java on your internship, and you are working on it in associate software engineer. Now you are doing very complex thing and doing different kind of developing different kind of projects as a senior software engineer. So after the senior software engineer, you become associate tech lead, and you are assigned to a team, and then now you become a tech lead, and then you are becoming associate software architect. So by reaching your end goals, the work that you are doing is different. So after associate tech lead or tech after the, like, and as a tech lead, like you don't have much opportunity to develop and doing some actual development and using these Java. So in that time period, you have to adjust yourself, move your head out of the development and add some managerial experience to your career, and work on different technologies, and it's a different experience.
So at that time, like, we should be able to not stick to specific languages also. Like we should be able to grab the
Yes.
concept and make decisions and designs based on those concepts. Not stick into.
Exactly. Yes.
So in order to go up in that ladder, we'll have to be expertise in one tool. So
in as a senior software engineer, like you can be expert in one or two technologies, but after that your mind should open to everything.
So it all depends so at the end of the day, it all depends based on the nature of the company that we are assigned to. Even though we categorize the companies as product based and service based companies, at the end of the day, based on the team and the people who we are working, only our career and our fate will be defined.
Yes. So yeah, you should be smart enough to identify whether you are doing right or wrong.
So
otherwise everyone will be lost in the middle.
So when considering about the job security, so that is also something that we need to consider when taking up a job. So what do you think, which type of company provides the more secure about the job that, for example, like hypothetically thinking, so if we are getting hired to a certain specific, so for example, this is on a service based company, so if we are getting hired in a specific language and they are hiring like 10 people because they have 2 or 3 new clients, they are expecting actually 2 or 3 new clients in that specific language. So suddenly if those clients leave the company and if they say that we don't need your company's service for our products, and if so, now there are 10 expert people in that language, but the company does not have any requirement of such employees. So at that time actually in the beginning 6 months we are on probation, so at that time I think with 1 month's notice they can terminate the contract. So there can be scenarios like that, I think, in service based companies. When considering such things, I don't think such things happen in product based companies. So once the product is well established, only they will hire people, expanding the teams. So what are your experiences on that? So is there any like job security problems also when considering companies, or it doesn't matter?
So I think rather than differentiate product based and project based, when you are like if you're considering job security, you should consider how the company survived in last years, and like if the company is matured, like even like I know some companies like product based companies, suddenly they lose all the incomes, and suddenly the company
closes the company.
Closes the company.
So in that sense, product based also is not that secure. So
yes, exactly.
That way.
Yeah, even in project based, there could be some, like even in COVID-19 time period. So there are a lot of service based companies were closed due to no projects. So that's why, like considering the job security, like we have to consider the company age and the history of the company and the employment feedbacks. Let's say like if they are like the same example as you said, the 10 people were hired, but there were no projects, and within the probation time period, like they stop all the contracts for the all 10 employees. So that those 10 employees will go to some other companies, but this company reputation is damaged. So after that, no one will come to or join to this company due to this reason. So I don't think a well-established company will do these kind of things. So most probably a very startups or very new like companies with very short time, like shorter history, with having shorter history, will do these kind of things because they doesn't have any other option, because they doesn't have the strength to keep the people in the company even though like there are no projects. Do you know, like in Virtusa, even in 2014 or 15, I can't remember the exact year, 75% of the employees were on bench. Bench means like they doesn't have any projects, like they were idle because there were no projects. Like I think there were some projects that they like discontinued in Sri Lanka and continue in India, the development and everything, due to some reason. So in Sri Lanka, like nearly 75% of the people were on bench. So but they were very strong even in that time period. Like no one will like left the company, and they keep everyone in the company. And after several months, like I think they received few projects and started like assign people.
So if at the end of the day, if the company is well established, so so we don't have to worry about it. But so when we are like going into new companies, we'll have to take that risk.
Definitely. Yeah. Job security risk is there.
So it all depends based on the nature and establishment. So even though if it is a product or a service based company, there is that specific risk in both ways. Like I think we talked about this topic for a long period, so and also I want to just add on to this. So now I think there is a new trend coming up also. So there is a concept called like outsourcing. So have you heard on that? Do you have any experiences on that?
Yeah, that's another earning source in IT industry. The main reason is like in some companies, like they wanted to have the workforce for a shorter time period. So they doesn't need to take the risk of recruiting people permanently. Because the work is limited, and if one person is recruited for a company, they have a lot of legal bonds to the employee. So there were some opportunity open in IT industry to take people for a short time period of time, and when the work is done, they doesn't need those
so in a nutshell, it's like that workforce. I can't remember the name. Like for security jobs and all, security staff, cleaning services and all, there are like companies who hire them and then they distribute them.
Manpower.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Manpower. So it's similar to something that in the IT industry.
Yeah, manpower in IT industry.
Think now it has like catch the trend with Peggy, and also for foreign companies also there are many Sri Lankan companies who outsource resources. So, but I think from the perspective of an engineer, it's similar to a service-based company, right? So we work on that product and for that specific time period, and then we move out to another client.
So, but even though it's like a service-based company, you'll have to work in different companies on different processes. Like if you are working in a service-based company or project-based company, like if the company takes project, like there is a process like to work on that. But if you are outsourcing, you have to work in different companies,
we'll have
different
to
company cultures.
Get a bite with the rules and those processes in the company that we are working for. So we'll like be like a permanent employee for a short period in that specific company. So so that's like
you
a whole
have to
new,
act as one.
Whole new different, like whole new experience from company to company.
Company to company, like if you are lucky enough, you will outsource in a good company. Yes.
I think outsourcing also like it also has, I think, pros and cons. So for pros, I think we have the flexibility of moving out from the company if we like don't feel like working in there, because the company that you are hosted, you have the contract with, will replace and give another resource to that specific assigned to that company, so we'll be able to work on another project or another client. So I think that freedom is also there, but will it be like that?
That I have a doubt. That like you say you are saying like
if you like
now
don't like
you are in now you are recruited in a company A. Okay. Now company one needs to hire a person from company A. Now company A is outsourcing Kamal to company 1. Kamal is having trouble working in company 1, and he want to work on company 2. Is that the case?
Yeah, something like that. So I thought that there is the freedom for Kamal to go and talk to his company and tell that I am facing trouble with this company, so can I like change the company and all?
you can ask, but
They will not.
definitely there will be some negative marks for you that you are not working properly in company 1. You can't ask, you can tell like in this company 1 there is no proper process, and the people in my Scrum team is like asking dumb question. So I don't want to work in company 1, so I have to work now. My friend of mine is working in company 2, and that company is good. Everyone asking smart questions, and even there's a process as well. So now I want to work in company 2. You might get a chance if you ask, but definitely there will be a negative marks as well.
So that also depends.
Yeah, in company A, like they are the one who giving all the promotions and all the increments for you. So company A will record you as now you have requested this kind of request due to this, and even company 1 give you some bad feedbacks about you. Likewise, like company like the A is the one who's responsible for you. So there will not be any freedom in that area.
So that also depends on the company and the nature. So at the end of the day,
that's the reason there is a in the beginning there is a very bad intention. I don't know whether it's the correct word. A very bad intention on these outsourced companies. Like if you are outsourced to, you don't know where you are going to work. Like it's like a puppet. Like you are assigned to different companies. Like you don't know what will be the experience for me. Like you are left alone in other companies. Like team is changing every time. So at the beginning of the time, like the people doesn't like to work as a outsourced engineers, but I think now the story is different right now. You will be not left alone completely. Even in that case, it depends how the company behave.
How the parent company manages the outsourcing and all.
Employees, exactly.
If they like properly guide, then
they are
have a whole team devoted to that specific project outsourcing. So that will be, I think, beneficial. So it would be similar to a service-based company then. If not, if like out of the blue we are getting assigned to different companies, and if we don't have any guidance within the parent company, then I think that would be a disaster. Currently, I think other than the 3 different types of companies that we spoke about, there aren't like major company types in the IT industry, right? So like from a perspective of an engineer, so those are the 3 different natures of companies that we can experience, right? So I think from adding on to this, something that just came to my mind is there are like now remote job opportunities. So there are a few of my friends who are doing such job opportunities as well. So as I got to know from them, they are on a contract basis. So what they are is they are not permanent employees. They have signed a contract that they will be working with that specific company for an year. So if our performance is good and if they have work for us, they are promising that they will be extending the contract. So I think like that there are many different types of other types of companies also that we aren't aware of. So there can be.
So this remote jobs, normally it's like that. Like when the people are working remotely, like the company can't be sure like whether he will work committedly or not. So definitely the remote work start as contract based bond, and after that eventually they will extend the contract, and at one time if he is really good, like definitely they will recruit him as a permanent employee. and even now if the companies like in different country, definitely they will give the work permit and accommodations also if the employee is really worth to them.
So in the first few
There are some
days
opportunities.
of our career, we'll have to like go through that bonding phase. So we'll have
Yes,
to show
yes.
colors and show our real talent
Exactly.
for the company. So in that also there is a huge risk, because if the company doesn't like seem to have worth getting from us, they can just terminate the contract. So at that also we'll
Yeah,
be
I
left hanging out without a job. So everything is a risk.
Everything is a risk.
So we'll have to take the risks to improve ourselves. If not, we'll be in the same
So
comfort zone.
not even in other industry or any other, when we are doing anything, there
There's
is a risk. So some people always select a minimum risk path all the time, but it's not the correct like all the time. There are some times that we need to we have to take the risk and take decisions. It's part of a life.
So today, like when we started the episode, we didn't mention about the topic that we are talking about. So I think now the audience, the listeners should realize that we were talking about different types of companies in the IT industry, so especially in Sri Lanka. So as of now, we have discovered like 3 to 4 different types. I think there can be many more type of ways how the IT industry works. That we
These are the main things.
And so at the end of the day, from what I have learned from you is, so as an engineer, we won't be, the experience that we will be getting won't be that much of a different, even though we work in different types of companies. So we'll be, if the company has a correct development procedure, and if they are following standards such as Agile and Scrum, those standards, the experience that we will be receiving is the same, even though the company's management and the main income revenue of the company is different. So
Yes.
From a management perspective, I think those different types matter a lot. So how their revenue model and everything is built on. But from an engineer's perspective, if we are like in the lower levels, like if you are working as software engineer or senior software engineer, so at that level I think there won't be much of a difference based on the type of the company.
So the easiest way, if you really need to understand how the company behaves, like the easiest way is contact someone from inside. Like to get the feedback from someone who currently working to the specific company, and ask how everything works. That is the easiest way.
So the last question that I had in my mind is to ask whether we need to consider this type of the company when we are choosing a job, and what would be the most suitable type for a person who is starting up in the company, who is a fresh graduate. But I think from the answers and the discussions that we were having in the past hour, so actually it doesn't matter. So if the company is established, then the experience that we'll be getting will be similar. So do you have anything to add on that?
It's totally depend how the company works, not the company type. Yeah.
So the type is just how the company makes money to pay us. So
Yes, exactly.
So I think there are like little advantages and disadvantages. So from my experience, so since I have been working in a product company, so the company has a product, and that is also a local product, so I get to experience what we build. So I know that the thing that I am coding today will be in production by the next week, and it will be used by the people in Sri Lanka. So that satisfaction is there. So if you are working for some foreign clients, we will not even know whether they are using it the way that it is intended to be used. So that satisfaction and that part will differ from the company's nature. So I think there are some R&D companies who's like we work an year on that project, but the client doesn't like the way how it turns out, so
Exactly,
we'll not
yes.
like the proof of concept, and then that whole thing gets discontinued. So
Yes.
there are such company scenarios as well. So that also, like if you are looking into a company that will like deploy your changes, and if you like want to see people using it, I think product you will have to choose a well-known product, and go to that company. If you don't care about what and how the people will use it, then it doesn't matter.
Exactly. So, eventually, like when you are becoming expert on developing, you don't care whether it's used or not. You need to develop that, so that's the only thing that you know. Like for myself, like I think I have developed like more softwares that redundant softwares.
So I think the clients realize that it's redundant once you show them the proof of concept, you know.
Like sometimes there were some time period that I thought myself like I should develop something new and give to the society likewise. And when I start developing and I was getting bored, and let's say somehow I have finished the development, there were 10 and 20 softwares like in that time period. So only the code base. I have the code base and no actual users.
So that all depends. So actually I think we'll have to talk this into a new episode also. So like I think development and the part where we come with new ideas and marketing them and pitching them, so that's whole new story. So like if we, so even though we are like fluent in a programming language, and if we are good software engineers, we won't there is no assurance that we'll be like Mark Zuckerberg or Bill Gates. So that's another part of the, like it's totally different, not what we are doing. So I think we'll have to talk that on another episode. So
another episode.
As like
actually it will be a very interesting topic.
Yeah.
we can I think let's try to take it on next week.
Yeah, we'll try.
Yeah.
So actually as software engineers, so we are in the end of a chain, so we are just like workers.
Dudes.
Like for example in an army of ants, so we are just like the ants who are collecting and doing the work.
Yeah, if you are consider a chess game, you are the pawns.
Yes. There's a whole hierarchy of people who are managing us and who are earning a lot from us.
Yes.
I think we talked a lot, and even though we didn't like define the topic that we are talking about this, I think in this episode we were able to stick to the topic. We didn't go off the topic much. So, and in the middle we had like Park Hatson also. So we are in Sri Lanka, so we have Donor Thomas. So I think we can wind this up, right? Yeah, I think we talked a lot today, so we can wind it, and we'll meet you guys in the next week. And before winding up, like so our podcast is on YouTube and all the other podcast services, so please like add any comments, and if you have any questions for us to talk, so please add them there as well, so we will try to talk on them.
Exactly.
So we can wind this up, I think.
Okay. So thank you everyone.
Thank you for listening to us.